What's going on, everybody? Happy Halloween. Welcome to Overwatch. We're going to be jumping in here just a bit, having some fun, hopefully, tonight. Hopefully everything goes well. I've got something special set up for a bit, and hopefully it goes pretty good. I'm kind of proud of this in a way. I've come up with a new character. Haven't named him yet, but we'll see. I'm trying my hand at, what is it, VTubing? Kind of VTubing kind of thing. So, give me 1 minute, we'll get started. We're starting early, by the way. So, if you missed this or the first few minutes, just, I apologize. Okay. I think we're good to go. Potentially, maybe? Aha! There he is. Hello. And welcome to the Halloween stream. I don't think you're really able to see me a bit. I gotta make eye contact with the camera, but this, ladies and gentlemen, is... I honestly don't know. We'll call him Cigar. Cigar? Raptor? Raptor? No, Raptor's taken. Can't do Raptor. Riptar. Reptar? I think it's Raptor. Reptar? Cigar? I don't know. I'm not sure what to call him. I guess we'll see. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into some games. And like I said, hopefully everything goes well. I did a little bit of testing. So hopefully this goes good. But had a pretty good day. Pretty awesome weekend, Halloween weekend. Had a few things pop up on me that I did not expect, but you know, it happens.
In Adlersbrunn.
Here in a little bit, we'll be doing some scary stories during Warcraft. And then we'll be doing a giveaway. We're going to take a brief intermission, and then I'm going to switch back to normal camera after we get done with Siggy here, Cigarette? I don't know. Anyway. Get some healing.
Forever haunted by the future. Not long ago, 4 heroes slew the Mad Dr. Junkenstein.
A little bit of backstory.
The Lord of the Castle. Tonight, in Somnic haunted streets beneath the full moon's glow, 4 more heroes would face a new peril.
A new peril.
Suffer the wrath of the bride.
Wrath of the bride.
The heroes emerge from their shelters, hoping to reunite with other survivors in the safety of the tavern.
Sit down, please. Someone get him back up.
Damn. Ah.
I foresee you coming over here. What's up? Glad to see other survivors.
We won't last long out here. Let's get inside and figure this out. Dropped.
Nice.
Thanks.
Are you all hearing this?
The castle has fallen.
Then approach at your own peril.
These messages. I hope everyone got out safe.
Does anyone
Yeah,
know
me
what's going
too.
on here?
Me too.
I bet these Zomniks have something to do with the Lord of the Castle. And Dr. Junkenstein, no doubt. What are we waiting for? Let's get to the castle and chop that doctor to bits.
Let's do it.
The heroes set off towards the castle, and the howling spelled an ominous portent.
So, how do you earn a name like the Butcher?
Why, butchering? Not quick for a sleuth, are ya?
Never hurts to ask.
Like a gentle rain. Be healed.
You know, it's really too bad Kiriko doesn't have a double jump, but I'll take this.
Door's locked. Won't get to the castle without a key.
My sight tells me it's somewhere nearby.
Where would it be?
The dreadful banshee lunged at the screaming gales and
On my way, on my way, on my way.
from the hero's hands.
Drop that now, or I'll give you something.
Ah, hell.
Caught you.
More, that's over.
It's gumshoe time.
Hey, you can step through walls? What?
As the wind swept away the banshee's remains, a haunting voice filled the minds of the heroes.
I expected more from my banshee friend.
Hey! Who's yapping in my head?
Do yourselves a favor. Stay away from the castle. Or else.
Guess we found our culprit. Now to put a stop to her.
This guy's not perfect, but I like him.
Castle should be up this way. Does anyone else feel like
You can't
they're
step
being
through
watched?
walls.
Yeah, and I don't take kindly to people looking at me.
I read you. Something is coming. Above us!
From high upon the ramparts, the gargoyles shattered their prisons and rained
That's a
on the
monkey.
heroes below.
Understood.
Get in there, Beelzebub!
Your prospects are looking better. Enter the spirit world.
To the gallows!
Don't worry, you got a long life ahead of you.
That one's on the house.
The gargoyles crumbled, and the strange voice spoke once more.
Aw, you killed my favorite pets.
You aren't the doctor. Who are you?
Yeah, you weren't the doctor.
Green Widow.
You're the
Bride of Chickenstone.
Aye, seriously? I blocked the path to the castle, so this is where your tale ends.
Reckon I know another way through. Let's get to the dungeon. Should be a lever around here that'll open the secret passage. Do I want to ask how you know about...
In the depths of the dungeon, the heroes fell under the hypnotizing gaze of the man.
Woohoo!
haunted the heroes.
I was hoping you wouldn't wake up.
What have you done with the Lord of the Castle?
I have plans for him. And now, I have plans for you, too.
In a twist of fate, the summoner stood guard over the castle door she once sought to destroy.
Your prospects are looking better. This bodes well for you. I foresee carnage in your future.
It's gumshoe time.
My ultimate is almost ready. Enter the spirit world.
Does that empower Bob? That'd be kind of cool if that empowered Bob. Just saying.
Restoring balance. The summoner. She was dead, wasn't she?
Seems the bride
yeah.
stoked her back to life.
Well, she's dead again now. And the bride's next. Once we bust through this door. Step aside, gals. My dynamite will burn this door to the ground.
Yes.
Carried on the wind.
Hold on, let me do something here. Make this a little smaller. There we go.
Castle doors, the heroes met only with shadows and looming fear.
Our futures are intertwined.
Oh, you finally made it. My club. Stay away from that thing. Unless you want to be in a world of hurt.
Oh, this guy doesn't like me.
You never mentioned the castle is haunted.
Ever seen one that wasn't?
Stay focused. That ghost could be back any minute. Can I get some healing?
Like a gentle rain. Did the bride reanimate all these Zomnics?
Seems Junkenstein wasn't the only inventive one.
Inventive.
Question, is she married to the doctor? Or his monster?
Really not important right now.
Says you.
Look at all this. The bride idolized Junkenstein, even after his demise.
And now she's returned to where it all ended. To finish what he started.
What for? What else? Revenge.
We need
Revenge.
to find the Lord. Fast.
Oh, not good.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Precision and control.
This guy's name is Pupcake. That's kind of cool.
That's the Lord of the Castle. Hurry!
The heroes found the Lord bound to an operating table, held at the whim of the bride of Junkenstein. The bride sought vengeance for her fallen creator. She would turn the Lord into a monster most powerful, should the heroes fail to stop her.
Fire off that switch!
Bad be bad, there's some good. I can feel the bride's aura. She's still close.
You can't let her flip any more switches. Think you can predict the one she'll pick next?
I see her choosing the one we least expect.
This is why people hate fortune tellers.
Fair.
You're in for a surprise! Cleanse. Junkenstein was robbed of his revenge. I won't make the same mistakes.
About that, can you settle an argument? Are you married to him or to the monster?
I am the bride of vengeance! Yeah, that clears things up. More daijoubu. Let's take him to the gallows!
Get me back in the fight!
I thought your dark magic was supposed to prevent this.
Get in there, Beelzebub! That ghost is back. Keep moving.
I feel rage in him. Pain. Ugh.
I'd feel sorry for him, but I'm a little busy.
Oh my god.
Switch.
I was drawn to you. Suffer the wrath of the bride! You won't put a stop to my plan so easily!
You got a debt to pay, hun, and we aim to collect.
The breeze brings me.
Ah, crap.
Our teammate needs help getting up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just keep me down. That's cool.
Time met the same end as her creator.
Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it.
At the hands of four brave heroes. The lord of the castle
Ah,
was
can't get it to work
saved,
right.
and once more could Adlersbrunn rest soundly. For now.
For now.
Railgun powered and ready to fire.
Woo! Boing. Boink. Nice. Not bad. Support weapon mastery. Coolio. Okay. Alright, give me 1 minute. Oh, I just gotta get something set up. That was fun. I think I'm gonna whip him out later, though. He seems to be eating a lot of memory, and I don't think I configured it right. Let me see. I don't think. Yeah, I'm kind of caught in a loop here. Close. Hey, game. How you doing? Is it good to see you? All right, give me a minute. Getting something set up here. Oh man, not much. Good to see you. Happy Halloween. All right. Yeah, I think I'm good to go here. Give me just a few minutes. And then we'll be jumping back into Overwatch. Do some more story. Be right back. Okay. Let's go ahead and jump in here. Oop, wrong one. And transition. Boom! Happy Halloween. Pretty basic get up, but it is what it is. I am totally cool with it, though. Here, G. Oh, nice. Awesome. Well, congrats on that. That's always good when you can do that. More story. More story! When did that happen? Recently, or? Yeah, the green screen's a little odd. About a week ago. Cool. Cool. I still gotta work with that a little bit. Oh well.
Our
Tale continues in Adler's Brune. Do, do, do. Pop, pop.
A fortune teller, forever.
I don't want to be a fortune teller. I want to be a soldier. Yeah. First payout too. Nice. I get one every so often from Twitch. Not a whole lot. More from YouTube, but every so often from Twitch. It's a great first feeling, though. Congratulations.
And saved the lord of the castle. Tonight, in some haunted streets beneath the full moon's glow, 4 more heroes.
Just a heads up, though. Keep an eye on it, because if you make a certain amount each year, you got to put those payouts on your taxes. So just a heads up. Ooh, ooh.
That's just embarrassing.
Ah.
Railgun charge holding.
Parents deal with that. Oh, nice.
to me, team.
To me.
Hey, glad
To
to see
me.
other survivors.
We won't last long out here. Let's get inside and drop. Fall in on the objective.
Will someone shut that racket up?
What? Just talking on the radio.
The castle has fallen. Approach at your own peril.
These messages. I hope everyone got out safe.
Does anyone know what's going on here?
I bet these Zomniks have something to do with the Lord of the Castle. And Dr. Junkenstein, no doubt. What are we waiting
I forget, do you play
Let's
Overwatch?
get to the castle and
Or what are you
chop
playing
that
lately?
doctor to bits.
The heroes set off toward the castle and the home.
125. Ooh, damn. Nice.
These zombots
That's
don't
awesome.
scare me.
Rust, right, okay.
What about the one behind you?
If you're trying to make me turn my back so you can kill me and sell my corpse, it won't win.
Nah, you got me. I've got you.
Locked. Not getting to the castle without a key.
My sight tells me it's somewhere nearby.
Come on. Come on. Hello, Banshee. Banshee. You know, I actually downloaded that to play it when it first came out. It was alright. I actually tried a slew of games that are similar to it. Well, in varying degrees. Nothing really like Rust, to be totally honest.
This ends now.
Ah. Ah, I'm down.
If they die, I've got dibs on the carcass. Someone get her back up. No dying until we win.
As the wind swept away the Banshee's remains, a haunting voice filled the minds of the heroes.
I expected more
From my Banshee friend.
Hey, who's yapping in my head?
Do yourselves a favor. Stay away from the castle. Or else.
Guess we found
Or
our
else
culprit.
what?
Now to put a stop to her.
What are you gonna do? You ain't gonna do nothing.
Castle should be up this way.
Does anyone else feel like we're being watched?
Yeah, and I don't take kindly to people looking at me.
That's fair.
Something is coming.
Above us.
From high upon the ramparts, the gargoyles shattered their prisons and rained on the
Oh, is it?
below.
Ew. Yeah, no, that's fair. It's a very valid point. Didn't even think about that. Thank you for the heads up.
Hey, no dying until I...
Your case still needs cracking, remember?
I don't. This is the first time I've actually done it on stream.
One on the highway to here.
Girlfriend bought some wine coolers. Just finishing them off like a 4-pack. The last one, so I was like, it's Halloween, why not? Damn it.
You lost one.
They got me good.
Ugh.
A grieving widow.
You're the bride of Jenkinstown.
Aye, seriously? I blocked
Back for Blood. Yeah, actually, I was a big fan of the Left 4 Dead series, and I saw that coming back, or I saw that coming out. I haven't played it yet, though.
Let's get to the dungeon. Should be a lever around here that'll open the secret
In
path.
the depths of the dungeon, the heroes fell under the hypnotizing gaze of
Yeah, I gotta play it. It was on Game Pass for a while. Not sure if it's still there, but I just never got a chance to try it out.
Marionette's nightmare ended.
Continuing on.
Still haunted the heroes.
I was hoping you wouldn't wake up.
What have you done with the Lord of the Castle?
I have plans for him. And now, I have plans for you, too.
Stay down.
In a twist of fate, the summoner stood guard.
Follow. Why is the follow H command working?
Destroy.
That's weird. I don't know, dude. Sure why, crap.
If they don't, I've got dibs on the carcass.
I owe you one.
Man.
I'll return the favor.
Man.
Looks like you need a hand.
Someone get her back up.
I owe you one.
The summoner. She was dead, wasn't she?
Seems the bride stoked her back to life.
Well, she's dead again now. And the bride's next. Once we bust through this door.
Step aside, gals. My dynamite will burn this door to the ground.
Behind the castle doors, the heroes met only with shadows and looming fear.
Oh, you finally made it. I'll have my butler show you in.
Unless you want to be in a world with her.
Get up. The fight's not over.
Your queen thanks ya. Thanks.
Yeah, it might be. I'll have to look at it.
The castle is haunted.
Ever seen one that wasn't?
Stay
I
focused.
think I looked at it about a month ago. It was hard to find.
Got you.
Nice.
Did the bride reanimate all these Zomnics?
Seems Junkenstein wasn't the only inventive one. Question. Is
She married to the doctor? Oh, he's a monster.
Really not important right now.
Someone's down! Get them back on their feet!
What the hell happened to you?
Somebody get them back up!
Our teammate needs to be revived.
You're doing time. Look at all this. The bride idolized Junkenstein, even after his demise.
And now she's returned to where it all ended.
You know,
To finish what
that's
she
a
started.
good question. I'd have to look at that. I don't think it is. I think it's just like the link to Twitch chat.
We need to find the Lord. Fast.
Get a move on!
It was linked to DC. It's much more work. Noted.
Operating table, held at the whim of the bride of Junkenstein.
Oh.
The bride sought vengeance for her fallen creator. She returns the Lord into a monster most powerful. Should the heroes fail to stop her?
What else you got?
Get off of that switch!
Need a bot made. Hit me up. I make bots for people for free. Alright, noted.
Where'd the bride go? I wasn't done killing her yet!
We can't let her flip any more switches.
Idea! We flip them first!
Leave the idea.
Yeah, I'm actually, once I get some extra money, I gotta fix my car first, but, I'm looking at investing in a few things for the channels. So, I'll let you know for sure, though.
Case closed.
Damn, every time I get my ultimate. Hello?
Prepared for a fortune. Someone get that slacker off the ground!
Junkenstein was robbed of his revenge. I won't make the same mistake.
You need a better hobby. Maybe one that won't lead to your untimely demise.
Isn't she already dead?
I don't know. I ain't a necromancer.
You're not done yet.
Entering the spirit world. Welcome to the come on.
Ugh.
No joining until I say so! Your guts wouldn't fetch me a heartbeat. Thanks.
I'll return the favor.
Butler's back for revenge. Why's everyone want revenge on us? We didn't do anything. Speak for yourself.
Okay. Experiment's down. I'm down.
So be damned. You can't catch me. Knock her off the switch, quick!
Come on, come on.
Them back on their feet. Hey! If you die, it'll be on their feet.
Wow.
Pretty badly.
Our teammate needs help getting up.
Someone reboard that lazy rat bag.
This ends now. Let's get back to don't let her throw that switch.
Where is she? Oh, there she is.
I need a
These
hand.
things catch us all by surprise.
I owe you one. Get over here. Ugh.
Your case still needs cracking, remember? If they die, I've got dibs on the carcass.
Okay. See you later, game. Hope you had a good Halloween.
That switch! Get up, outlaw.
Someone get that
Can't lose my prime suspect.
I've died. This is the game I've died so many times in.
Against you. This is the end.
Get.
Stay on your toes. Someone get them back on their feet. Get me back in the fight.
Another murder in Adler's Run.
Get up. The fight's not over.
That damn ghost.
Friendly down. Keep it together.
This isn't my time.
Damn, I've got you. This is your lucky day. We got one on the highway to Hades.
Someone get that slacker off the ground. Hang on. I'm supposed to solve your
I owe you one.
If you
Finally. Yeesh.
Junkenstein met the same end as her creator. A death at the hands of 4 brave heroes. The Lord
Four.
of the castle was
4
saved,
brave heroes.
and once more could Adlersbrunn rest soundly.
For now. Hey, play the game. Look at that. Nice. Bing. Okay. Not bad. Okay. I'm going to run and grab a drink real quick. Actually, mix a drink. Let's see. But, big shout out to Game Crusher for popping in. Happy Halloween. And then I'll be back in just a bit. Warning contains jump scares. Warning contains jump scares. Huh. I don't know why they put that in there. Be right back. Okay. I got some tea. and we can get back into this. I think we're going to hit a couple of games. It's working all right? Oh, all right, cool. I am currently having a Kit Kat because these things are rock. Okay. Mystery Heroes is now unranked? Interesting.
Welcome to Junkertown.
Hey, Bastion's back. I wonder what they did to him.
Welcome to Oasis.
Tank, huh? Going with the Big Papa.
Together then strikes them down.
I'll see this matter resolved.
Hello! Shield activated.
I'm eager to see what problems we encounter on this mission. 5, 4,
Ah, crud, can't do it.
3, 2, 1. Round 1.
It's gonna adjust the graphics a little bit, but
Thank you.
man.
The objective is now active.
I've been knocked down before.
Hmm.
You can't stop me! I'm on fire!
Your end is within my reach.
Little off.
That's what happened!
Heroes never
The
die.
fight has just begun!
Whoops.
Our work is not done.
Yeah.
What's next? Careful, we're outnumbered. Oh, this armor really needs more padding.
Not on my watch.
Damn.
Come place the objective with me.
Reporting.
There is no challenge I cannot face.
Almost had him.
0 to 1.
If you ever need help, just fly to me, Angela.
Ah, my hero. You're like a knight in flying armor.
That's what I'm going for.
3, 2, 1. Round 2. Capture the objective.
It is not over yet. We can turn this around.
I will keep you safe.
Genji mains.
I'm not through just yet. Soldier 76 reporting for duty.
Wow.
Advancing upward. Combat protocols activated.
Pain is inevitable.
It's alright, I took out 3 of your boys.
I've got you in my sights. My ultimate is charging.
Got you off the point.
Heroes never die.
My journey continues.
An ideal result.
Okay, if we can get them lined up. He tried.
Score 1-1.
1-1.
Back in my day, we had to fight on the ground. Need healing.
Push your limits. Nothing breaks that I cannot mend.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 3. Capture the objective.
Everyone stay focused. This is it.
Taking off. Enemy contact. Up and away.
What's next? Group up with me.
Scaling up.
I got a healer. Actually, the healer took me out too.
I will never tire of this.
Didn't know he could reflect that back. That's sick.
There is no challenge I cannot face.
Worth it.
I'm not through just yet.
Could use some healing.
I will never tire of this.
Got a healer.
I can take more than that.
Nice. Whew. Oh, caps.
Play of the game.
Ooh. Mercy got play of the game. Nice. Someone has to carry us. For 30 seconds without dying, excludes total mayhem and co-op modes. You know what? I think we're going to go ahead and switch over to some World of Warcraft. But before that, we're going to take a brief intermission. We had a good time with some Overwatch tonight. Even whipped out the new character I've been working on, which is awesome. For the stream, anyway. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed this portion of Overwatch. Like I said, we're going to take a brief break. 5 minutes or so. I got to use the restroom. And then we'll be back with Warcraft. We're going to hit some dungeons, listen to some scary stories. I got to get something lined up, so that'll take a few minutes. But 5 to 10 minutes, we'll be back, hang out. As soon as we get a few more folks in here, we'll do a bit of a giveaway, and it'll be pretty awesome. So we'll be right back. Okay. I think we're good to go. Yeah, I think we're... There's a camera test. Okay. Let's do this. We're going to run some dungeons. Potentially get her into Raid Finder. We'll see. Damn, that was quick.
So, the House of Eyes has finally sent someone to kill me. You're welcome to try. The horrors within these halls will make quick work of you. Stradama's plague will soon...
He was decent. Ooh. 236? Hold up.
That was a mere taste of what the plague can do.
That's a big upgrade.
Once I control it, all of
Big
my
upgrade.
pay for what they've done.
Yeah. Love it.
Wonderful! More test subjects! Unleash the plague borders!
Oh, we can't go yet.
You myself.
Oh my god, help. Crap. Jeez.
My laboratory. When I find you, I'll be happy to demonstrate my research. You cannot comprehend my genius.
Got him.
So you emerge victorious, but at what cost? What vile mixtures now course through your veins? That is the plague's true power. It lingers, festers, destroys everything it touches, even the victor.
Oh man, what's up with the camera?
Had A.K.A. not been so foolish, had he reached out and seized the plague, the House of Eyes would still stand. I will correct his mistake. All will suffer, as the House of Eyes has suffered.
Hey, Sister, how you doing? Actually, I think that's shiesty. I like it. Ah, yeah, no worries. I'm glad you're doing well. You having a good Halloween?
You will not stop me! No target has escaped me. My blades will rend your flesh. Your demise comes from
Ducking the kids. Nice. Yeah, I was actually thinking I might have some tonight, but I don't think I'm getting any trick-or-treaters. It's kind of surprising. I had a few last year.
my blades will rend your flesh.
Boom.
Be mine.
Who trespasses upon the House of Blades? Who seeks that which cannot be controlled?
Okay, if I can do this right, I should be able to pull fairly effectively.
Been expelled.
Doop. There you are. Final boss. Hey, happy Halloween, Miss Lady. Oh. Don't want to be there, don't want to be there. Boop, boop. Yeah, that's what I thought. Please don't throw up on me. Ugh, God, with headphones, this is horrible. Blech. Blech. Woo. And no gear. Cool. You're to show him the surprise. I did it for a bit, but it started messing up my computer. I don't know what it was, but just so everybody knows, I had a raptor in a top hat with a cigar as a quote costume, a digital costume. But it started hogging all the memory on the computer, and the Streamlabs didn't really agree with it, so I had to cut it out, which really sucks because I thought it was a really cool thing. But I'll try to whip him out here again in a bit when we do the gift card giveaway. Right now, I'm going to continue a tradition, and we're going to get some scary stories going. So give me a minute here. True scary stories to keep you up at night. Why don't we... Okay, this guy's name is B-Busta. This is about 2 hours. That'll work.
I work a very early morning schedule at my job. I go in at 2 in the morning and work until noon, 4 days a week. I used to sleep in until about maybe 7 o'clock on my days off because of just how exhausting my schedule is. But recently, I found it easier to just wake up at my normal time at 1 o'clock in the morning every day of the week. It's not easy, but I get paid good money at my job, and waking up at the same time every day assures that I won't be exhausted all the time trying to balance my schedule out every week. I'm very disciplined, though, about my health and well-being, so I've always been a bit of a runner. I always try and get about 15 to 20 miles of running in every week. I've always preferred running outdoors rather than on a treadmill in some gym somewhere, but where I live, it can get a bit hot outside, so I've always ran earlier in the morning, late at night.
Well, what happened?
Since getting my job, I've went for my runs at 2 o'clock in the morning on my days off.
Camera
I
froze.
actually find it very relaxing, and I love the emptiness of the streets at night. The atmosphere provokes a lot of deep thoughts within me, which always makes my runs easier. Now, I'm a very tall and muscular guy, so I've never been too terrified of running into some creep at night on my runs. I also used to take karate when I was in high school, so I always feel as if I can defend myself if a situation of sorts ever presented itself.
The hell?
Basically, if someone ever tried to get tough with me, I'd be more scared for them than I would myself.
What happened? What is
However,
going on?
My self-confidence and courage recently disappeared after encountering, well, whatever that thing was.
Hold on, y'all.
My runs. A couple of months ago, I was on my morning run, running the same route as I always do. I was about 2 miles into a 5-mile run, meaning I was 2 miles away from home.
It was working just fine.
I always run on the outskirts of the giant park that borders the north side of my town. It's filled with trees and bushes and a lot of animals, so it isn't uncommon to have some encounters with badgers or possums or birds at night, and I've grown used to all of the weird noises that I hear coming from the trees. However, this night was different. The oddest thing was that I didn't hear anything out of the ordinary while running along the path next to the park, but I got this deep sort of dreadful feeling in my stomach. I'd never felt anything like it before. Fear arose within me, and I had no idea why. I guess my sixth sense kicked in that night or something. I didn't know what I was feeling or even thinking, really. I just knew that I had to get out of there as fast as I could. My jog turned into a run, which then turned into a sprint. My senses knew that I was being followed by someone or something. I felt the leaves crumbling at my feet with each step that I took. I didn't even think about where I was running or where I was heading as long as I got out of there. I wanted to look behind me just to know if I was actually running from something or if I was just being paranoid, but my body just wouldn't let me look. I was too afraid to know the truth, I guess. The dread and the fear only began to grow within me too. Even after running for a good couple of minutes, I still didn't feel safe. Suddenly, too, I found myself trying to shout and yell for help.
I don't know.
Couldn't.
Camera gave
I
out.
couldn't even make a sound. I was hardly even breathing. My vocals seemed to be drowning in my despair, and I was about out of breath at this point, so I made the mistake of turning around in hopes to find myself alone with no one chasing me. But as I turned around, my foot kicked into a rock sticking out of the ground, and I fell to my face. In fear, I looked behind me. In fear, I stood up and prepared myself for whatever came my way. My flight reactions were about to turn into fight reactions, I think. I clenched my fists and stood up straight, making myself appear as threatening as I could. But surprisingly, I found myself alone. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Nothing. Why would I be so afraid, though? What was I running from? Was I that paranoid? I had a hard time believing that this was all my imagination, but that's what my eyes were saying, because nobody was there. Nothing was there. I felt relief, I guess, and I began to slow walk home on a bit of a limp, trying to catch my breath. I was farther from home now than I was before, and the only way back home from where I was back on that path next to the park where I had just come from. I decided this time to walk directly through the park to avoid the same path that I was just on instead. I soon regretted this decision, however. I had never walked through the park at night before, so I had no idea that there were no lights on this path. In fact, it was pitch black, the darkest black that I'd ever seen all around. But I couldn't turn back now. I had to get home, and I wanted to put all of this behind me.
I'm working on the camera. I don't know what's going on.
Only looked forward. As long as I felt the pavement below me, I knew that I was going in the right direction. Suddenly, though, I felt my stomach drop yet again. That same feeling and the same fear grew within me. This wasn't the exact same, though. I knew that I was in real danger, and it wasn't just paranoia this time, because this time I saw something, and it's weird. Bear with me here as I try to explain this. In this pitch darkness, the darkest black that I had ever seen, I saw something. how is hard to explain though, but
yes, I could
I
see
saw this
your
figure moving in
messages.
front of me, and it was darker than the Black Knight. The
Currently
deepest,
working on something,
darkest
so I'm a
thing
little
that I've ever seen
distracted.
in my life was moving toward me on a path that I was walking on. This time I didn't fight. I didn't run. I completely froze, dead in my tracks. I couldn't make myself move. I tried, but I was just completely paralyzed. I had to watch the darkness of whatever this thing was approach me. The dark black of this thing grew closer and closer until everything was darker than black around me. I felt immersed in darkness all of a sudden. I opened my mouth to make a sound, and this time I actually could. I let out a fearful cry and closed my eyes, and I felt nothing. I can't explain this feeling, but I just felt nothing. I honestly thought for a moment that I was dead, but the sounds of birds chirping slowly faded in. Too afraid to open my eyes, I continued to listen to the chirping of the birds, and in the distance I could even hear the voices of people. I felt a soft breeze touch my nose, and I finally worked up the courage to open my eyes, and now it was daytime, and the morning dew covered me. I was laying in the park, on the path, right where I was, well, attacked or whatever by this thing.
I'm good. Yeah.
How could it be morning already?
We're good.
A few seconds ago, I was just in the darkness of these
what
woods,
that
and
was.
all of a sudden it was daylight.
Weird. But yeah, we can see your
Whatever
messages.
the case, I felt completely exhausted and confused, and I headed for home without question. I'm still confused about this experience every day that I think about it. I've never slept a walk in my life that I know of, or have had any other occurrences like this ever since. I still can't explain what happened to me that night, but
gotta charge my
it's
headset.
safe to say that I don't run at 2 in the morning any longer.
Hold on 1 minute.
Several months ago, I had a bit too much to drink with some friends one night. I arrived back to my car at around 12 in the morning, and I decided that I was not in any condition to drive. I grabbed whatever blankets and jackets that I had, curled up in the back seat, and I fell asleep. At around 4 in the morning, though, I woke up sort of hungover, but much more sober than before. I reached to the front and started my car to warm it up. As I sat down and looked out the rear window, I saw a man. He was wearing a dark hoodie with a red backpack on. He was standing under a streetlight, just staring at me from the middle of the parking lot. I was confused. It was dark, and I thought that I was just seeing things at first. But then he started walking towards my car. I have never, ever jumped in that driver's seat with such swiftness in my life. I swear my heart felt like it stopped too. He proceeded to stop and just stood there watching me drive away, and I thought that I caught a glimpse of something shiny in his hand, but it still makes me feel uneasy to this day. I'd like to believe that he was just watching me sleep, but needless to say, I will not be sleeping in my car ever again. So, this is our last resort, because I've looked on a bunch of forums, I've looked all over the internet, but I don't see much in terms of results. I've read that it could possibly be an incubus, but that just sounds a little too mythical to me, I guess. I've never been a paranormal believer or a religious person, but I do respect it because of my grandmother. She believes heavily in this stuff, and even has CDs full of supposed captures of demons and angels and whatnot. Lots of orbs, mysterious figures and the like. I admit too that they are a little bit strange. She's had them looked at, but was told to stop taking pictures because there was apparently something following her and it was not a good being. She also reports experiences where she's seen my great-grandma and grandpa. My aunt, her daughter, who has lived with her, confirmed some of her own experiences as well. The four were very close when my great-grandparents were alive. And well, now I live with my grandma, but this thing has me on the fence of belief, I'll tell you that much. I say on the fence, though, because truly I could be just going insane. I don't know. I don't want it to be real, to be honest. The only mental problems I've ever had, though, is depression and anxiety, so there's that, I guess. My grandma does have a prescription of schizophrenia that she'd stopped taking a while ago, but it's the cleanly worried about mess kind of schizophrenia. My aunt is mentally stable is what I'm getting at. Never took a drug. I have also been having dreams of a sexual nature. I rarely remember dreams, but they've been vivid recently, and also one where I was being told some type of secret, and that if I told anyone I was done for or dead or something by a vague blonde man in robes. He was bringing me in to show me something, and I blurrily remember some type of necklace with an eye symbol on it. But the weirdest thing is that every second of the day I feel something near me or touching me inappropriately. I work from home too, so I have to really focus, and it really gets to me. I've prayed, bought religious candles, put a pillow between my legs, put my hair up from my neck, worn tight clothing or no clothing at all, turned off all wind makers, closed windows, held my breath to stop making any moves, to check to see if I was just being paranoid, if it was a draft or just my clothing moving or something when I was breathing. But no, I feel it. I feel someone touching me sometimes, and it's still here. I think I maybe accidentally called it one time as well. My boyfriend is on a Navy boat underway currently, so I've been more wanting for certain things lately, and one night, about a week ago, it was particularly bad, so I was doing a maintenance, I guess you could call it, and that's when it started. I let it happen because of obvious reasons, but I was really confused and thought maybe I was just dreaming. I now
maintenance
bundled up around my groin area. That makes it go away, but it wakes me up either way around 2-ish or 3-ish every time without fail, in which I'll be in completely different positions on the bed with whatever it is touching me. Whatever it is, I don't feel that it's evil. It just has a one-track mind, I guess. I tried talking to it once, and I know that sounds crazy, but it doesn't really respond. So I stopped talking to it entirely, ignored it for hours. Same thing though, it never leaves. Also, just on the touching stuff, it's not always sexual or anything, but there's like a caressing of my face, my back, my neck, or my legs sometimes. Sometimes it even seems to get angry with me or something and pinches my nose. Sometimes too I get a really odd pressure on my ear, and it makes it ring a bit. Also, depending on the temperature in the room, it's been a very warm touch or a very cold touch. 50-50 really. I thought traditionally that their touch was only cold, or so I've been told, so this came as a real surprise to me. To be honest with you though, I really don't know what to believe about any of this. I sort of hope that I'm just sort of crazy now, I guess. I think I'm gonna go and get an assessment, but I would just like some theories and possibly some help or something. Or do I need to be admitted into a psych? What do you guys think? Also, we stopped using gas for heating, so there's not hallucinations from a gas leak or anything, and it's a brand new take as well. Again, I just don't know what this is. I don't know if it's a ghost, if it's just all in my mind, or maybe if it's something evil.
That was interesting.
A couple of years ago, my buddy and I were bored one afternoon and decided to explore an abandoned house that I'd spotted earlier that week when I was out on a drive. We live in a town that is mostly suburbs, but if you drive 5 minutes north, it's all country roads, farmland, forest, etc. The abandoned house that I spotted was in the middle of a field. There wasn't a paved road or gravel driveway that led up to it, so we parked as close as we could on the side of the road and walked through the tall grass to reach it. The house looked pretty old, most likely built in the early 1900s. There were plants engulfing the entire home, and part of the roof was missing from what looked like fire damage. It had obviously been abandoned for some time at this point. But my friend told me that he was going to hang back when we came close to the house. He just couldn't shake the feeling that something was off and said that he was getting bad vibes. I, though, decided to keep going.
What kind of brownie?
But when I reached the house, I looked in through the windows and saw lots of weather damage and signs of neglect. The door, however, was locked. I walked around the perimeter of the house and found a cellar door, unlocked. I entered and slowly started walking down an old wooden staircase. I got about halfway down and squinted, waiting for my eyes to adjust to the darkness. The only light source was the sunlight coming in from the open cellar door. And it was full of old belongings, furniture and junk. But then, in the far right corner, I saw what looked like a
regular
figure
boo
standing in
brownies.
the
Oh,
dark
nice.
facing me.
Brownies. Boo
For
brownies.
stomach's sake.
Boo brownies.
It was a tall person just standing there, straight, with their arms at their side. I couldn't make out what they were wearing or any facial features. I stood there for a few seconds staring back at them in shock. I thought it had to be my mind playing tricks on me at first, so I squinted harder trying to make out if what I was seeing was actually a tall figure. And suddenly, it moved slightly and made a deep grunting sound.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I tried doing it.
Then I ran up the stairs as fast
but,
as I could. When my friend
it kept messing with the stream, so
I exited the basement,
had
he
to
started
cut it
running
off.
towards the car. He said that it looked
But
like
I did it for about
seen a
15
ghost or
minutes at the
something.
beginning of the stream, so it was pretty
When
cool.
we drove away, I kept looking back to see if we were being followed or anything, but nobody was there.
Stories are crazy, man.
This happened 3 nights ago, and I'm still going crazy trying to figure this out. So I just moved into a new apartment 1 month ago, and I'm still unpacking and settling in. I've been using my parents' address as my main address, who live a few towns over, like 20 minutes away. 3 nights ago, my parents called me at 2 a.m. freaked out and proceeded to tell me this story. So apparently, at 1 in the morning, someone starts banging on their front door and repeatedly ringing their doorbell. My stepdad walks downstairs and opens the door, leaving the front glass door closed and locked. And there was a man standing outside who looked to be in his 30s with a black hoodie on with the hood pulled up around his face.
What?
He didn't have any distinguishing facial features, facial hair or tattoos or anything. The only thing my stepdad said was that he looked to be Hispanic perhaps. Neither my stepdad or my mother, who was watching the whole thing out of the window, recognized this guy. The man then says, "Oh, I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm looking for," and he gives my full name. My stepdad plays dumb and says, "Who?" The man proceeds to state my full name again and says that my boyfriend is worried because I didn't come home that night. He claims to be a friend of my boyfriend and tells my stepdad that they're both out looking for me, worried because I didn't show up at home. I don't have a boyfriend. I live by myself and with my 3 dogs and haven't been in a relationship in like the last 5 to 6 months. But here's the really weird part. So my stepdad asked the guy what boyfriend he was talking about. The man tells him the name of the boyfriend that I had when I was in 10th grade, nearly 20 years ago.
Damn.
My boyfriend in the 10th grade has a very, very unique Italian name. I've never met anyone with a full name even close to his. He says my high school boyfriend's name a few more times to ensure my stepdad heard him, and repeats that they are very worried about him. And he asks, is my stepdad sure that I'm not inside? At this point, my stepdad is weirded out and closes and locks the door in his face. But the man doesn't leave. He lingers in the front of my parents' house for the next 10 minutes, smoking cigarettes and talking on the phone. Finally, my parents call the cops. About 5 minutes before the cops arrive, the man walks down to the dead end on their block and drives away in a silver car. My stepdad was unable to get the license plate. My parents file a police report and nothing else happens. After I hear this story, though, I'm going nuts over the weird details.
That is weird.
How would someone know who I dated nearly 20 years ago, and what would the motive be of making up a story that included that weird detail about my past? I've not had contact with the 10th grade boyfriend in over a decade now. Yesterday, though, I decided to message him on Facebook to see if he has any insight. I tell him the whole story, and he's just as confused as I am and claims to have no part of it. I'm at a bit of a loss at this point. I'm also really freaked out that some strange man is going through that much trouble at 1 a.m. to look for me. Any
1
insights or
a.m.?
ideas would be greatly appreciated. And no, nothing else weird has happened since then. Like I said, I have no idea what to think about this, but something tells me that it's not good.
This is different creepy stories from real life people, and it's one of my favorite YouTube channels.
I've had a sleep condition called REM, sleep behavior disorder, that causes me to occasionally continue dreaming after part of my brain is woken up. So I can look around my room and see things that are just not there. This is common enough for me that after the initial panic wears off, I get over it pretty quickly. That is, until the night my partner at the time saw it too. So I woke up in my bed, flat on my back. Above me was a solid black humanoid creature with smooth features, long, thin limbs. Its mouth was open, very close to mine. I felt like it was studying me, maybe. My heart was racing, as it always is when I have these sleep disturbances. I jolted in fear, and the thing vanished. I took some big, deep breaths and thought to myself how messed up that episode was. It felt really real. I felt its curiosity in its expression, and it was so close to my face that it was almost touching me. My dreams are usually vivid, but man, this was different. I felt my heart, which was beating like crazy, and took another breath to help slow it down. Then my partner in the bed beside me said, "Did you see that too?" I hadn't yet said anything out loud at that point,
Dude.
except for gasping for air. So I asked him if he saw me. He said that he saw a black creature leaning over me. He said that it skittled down to the foot of the bed and over the edge. He said that it was a shadow person or something like it. I never heard of them, but I was freaking out at this point and turned on all the lights. I made him go look under the bed, and there was nothing there. He was into supernatural stuff. I never was, and other than this event, I still am not. I prefer science, I guess. I like things that I can measure and to explain.
Truth.
But this experience, him seeing something that I rationalized in my mind as a dream gone bad, just did not line up with my worldview. I didn't sleep that night. Everything just sort of buzzed with creepy energy, and I wasn't having it. I mean, where did this thing go? Where the heck did it come from in the first place? What was it doing on my bed? Why was it looking so intensely at me? I have a son too, and
Gotcha.
At the time he was about 14. I didn't tell him what I saw for obvious reasons. But when he was 2, he...
Oh, the princess took some beautiful pictures, by the way.
It was a terrible experience for me, more than him, I guess, but...
Your
he was back
boyfriend
to
must be
normal
very
within
lucky.
maybe a few hours,
Is very
and
lucky.
I was traumatized for years. But any time that he got a fever after
Drinking
that,
a little bit.
he tended to become disoriented
Cheers.
and easily confused. So he developed a fever in the night.
Camera
I
still
don't even
going?
remember what it was from, and I didn't know about it until the morning.
Yeah. All right.
He tells me, shaking.
Trying to keep an eye on
he
it
had
since
a
it froze
horrible,
earlier.
Horrible night sleeping. He said that he felt like something was in the room all night. He told me that he saw a creature, a little black guy in his room. Every time that he opened his eyes, it would sort of back off, but when he closed them, it would always come closer. He said that it happened all night, and he barely slept. It's important to note, too, that I'm not into supernatural things at all. I don't really believe it in fact. Like I said, I sort of lean into science, but when my son told me this story, I leaned into whatever I could to clear out space of this unwanted guest. A friend recommended that I contact an elder from a local First Nations community and asked if she could help us. She came and did a ceremonial cleansing and blessing of our home, and family as well, and asked the ancient spirits to protect us and keep us safe. After that, we didn't see the shadow person again. I still cannot explain what happened that night. The elder said that there was a portal open near the center of our home, apparently, and she politely asked the being to leave, and I don't know, I guess it did. We eventually moved out of that house, and to be honest, I really don't miss it.
That's crazy. Shadow people, it's totally a thing.
I was younger, 18 to 24 years old. I worked at my family's trucking company. It was a small operation with around 17 trucks. I did the dock compliance and log auditing. One Friday, as I was preparing to go home, I was informed that they had decided to open a warehouse as well, and I would be responsible for setting it up and the daily operations. They handed me a set of keys for the building and an address to report to on Monday. Guessing, being the youngest member of the family, working there meant I was the first one to get moved around to other jobs. So, Monday comes and I show up to the building at 8 in the morning. It was an old metal manufacturing building that was built in the 60s. The company that originally built and occupied the building had closed years ago, and the new owner had divided the building into 50-foot wide by 200-foot long sections that each had a long front door, a rear door with steps, dock door and plate, and 2 small bathrooms built in the front left corner of the unit. After we had been open for a couple of weeks, they built a small office in the right corner of our unit so that I could have a space to set up a computer for inventory control and invoicing. As this was a small warehouse operation, I was the only employee. When we needed something shipped out to one of our customers, they would send our local delivery driver over with a tractor, a sort of trailer thing, to deliver the product. And at first, everything was good. I would show up and wait for orders to come in and then pull the pallets and let dispatch know that I needed the driver to bring the tractor trailer and make a delivery. It was a pretty boring job, if I'm being honest, as I was the only one there, really. One day, though, after we had been open for about 6 months, I was rotating pallets in the aisle, and as I backed out of an aisle with the forklift, I saw an old man out of the corner of my eye. As I was supposed to be the only person in the warehouse, and I was certain all the doors were locked, I turned to cuss out whoever was standing there, but when I turned, there was nobody there.
Weren't there anymore.
I chalked it up to my imagination, and I went on about my business. It was probably 2 weeks before I saw the old man again, I think. I was getting pallets pulled for an order, and I was backing out of the aisle, and I saw him again out of the corner of my eye. He would always just be standing there in blue jean overalls and a red button-down flannel shirt. When I would turn to look at him, he was always gone, though.
Grandpa, is that you?
This happened off and on for about a year when I was told that I was moving back to the main office and that they were hiring someone else to run the warehouse. I worked at the main office for about a year after that, and they decided that they wanted to expand the warehouse by getting a section next to ours that had just been vacated. So now we had 2 identical sections, and the owners were going to cut and frame a hole in the wall by the dock area so that we could use our forklift on both sides. So, come Monday morning, I start working at the warehouse with Jonathan, the guy that was hired to take my place. As this was an on-demand shipping warehouse for manufacturing companies, we had a lot of downtime there. I had been there for about a month, and we were sitting in the office goofing about, just talking about this and that, and I mentioned how the warehouse was kind of creepy. Jonathan replies with, yeah, especially that old guy who you'll see standing at the end of the aisles as you're working. Now, I had never met him before working together and never mentioned seeing the old man to anyone. I mean, I would sound crazy, right? But we started trading stories, though, about seeing this old guy, and 30 minutes later we went back to work. After we had discussed the old man is when things started heating up, though. We'd be working in the warehouse, and we would hear the bathroom doors on the opposite side of the office wall open and slam closed.
Dude.
You would hear footsteps, and when you went to investigate them, there would be nobody there. To try and stop the bathroom doors opening and closing, I even put padlocks on them. And this stopped it for a while, but one day as we were sitting in the office, I heard the bathroom doors open and slam close so hard they shook the wall, which was made of 6 layers of fireproof sheetrock.
Cool.
We ran to the other side of the warehouse, and both doors were closed, but the locks were laying on the floor, still locked. I don't even know how that's possible, to be honest. Fast forward 6 months, and
what?
I get a call at midnight that one of our customers has an audit in the morning and needs to have a count of all their product in our warehouse by 8 a.m. So I get dressed and drive to the warehouse. I get there at around 1 in the morning and have to walk 200 feet in the pitch black to the back of the warehouse to turn the lights on. I start doing the inventory when I hear 3 loud knocks on the back door. I just froze and listened. Then 3 more loud knocks on the door. I said to myself that there's just no way I'm answering that. Then the roll-up dock door, which is a good 4 or 5 feet off the ground, started shaking violently like someone was trying to rip it off. I threw my clipboard on the ground and I ran out the front door and jumped in my car. I was about 3 miles down the road when I pulled into a church parking lot and talked myself into going back to the locked doors. I drove around back to see if maybe it was a truck driver that had showed up.
Hey, Ozzy, how you doing?
There was nobody around back in the dock area. I drove back around the front and I locked the door and went home. Now, the final experience was one night as I was going to bed. My wife always went to sleep before me, as I'm a bit of a night owl. I had laid down in bed and just sort of started falling asleep when my wife goes, "Why are you standing at the foot of the bed?" I say my heart stopped beating. I am not exaggerating. I sit up in bed and at the foot was a shadow figure, just standing there, and as I share this, I still get cold chills just remembering it.
I don't blame you.
I jumped out of bed, and as soon as I did that, it was just as if this thing just disappeared. Like, didn't fade out or anything, it just sort of vanished right before my eyes.
Yeah, same here.
Milliseconds.
Bit of a chill night with some creepy stories.
This
some
was during
Warcraft.
the age of the internet. I started looking up information, and the main thing that I kept seeing was, if it isn't trying to cause you harm, then just try speaking to it. So the next day, when I went to work, I stood in the middle of the warehouse and just said out loud, "I'm not sure who you are or what you want, but I acknowledge that you're here. I mean you no harm, I just work here and am here to do a job. You're welcome to stay here if you're friendly, and I'll leave you alone if you leave me alone." I did similar when I got home, except I stated that this was my home and that they were not welcome. I wanted them to leave, and since that day, surprisingly, I've never experienced anything else at the warehouse or my home ever again. I no longer work for my family or at our warehouse, but I still drive by there sometimes, and I think about the old man and the overalls. Hopefully, whoever he is, he's doing alright.
You know, it's funny. I'm of the mind that some of the unknowns just want to be recognized, you know?
He was never aggressive or sent me proper threats, so stubborn as I am, I did my best to ignore him and not give him the satisfaction of showing him any fear. To be honest, after a while, I also wasn't even scared anymore, since he almost never came close to me. I know being stalked can affect people severely, even in a case like mine, and that's totally valid, but I guess I just got lucky and was never really psychologically affected by it. His stalking behavior mostly just consisted of sending me letters and gifts, such as photos of my own apartment building from the outside, things that he dug out of my trash can, and so on.
What?
I called the police many times, but they weren't able to, or really tried, to be honest, to catch or identify him. About 3 weeks ago, I discovered the German version of the subreddit r/IMA, and thought that people might want to know about what it's like to have a stalker. Since I barely use any social media, aside from Reddit, and have no personally identifying information here, I didn't think that he'd ever see it. One person even asked, "Does he know that you're putting him on blast on Reddit?" And I answered, maybe it would make him angry, maybe he'd be turned on. I don't know, and I don't really care. Well, I know the real answer now. He did see it, and he did not like it. Like I said, he was never aggressive and never came close to me. The closest that I know of was when he sent me a picture of myself unlocking my apartment door, taken from the corner of the steps above. Sorry if that doesn't make sense. I really don't know how else to explain it, but I consider myself a pretty vigilant person, and I'm thinking that he might have hid a camera there instead of being there to take the photo himself.
Probably.
I think I would have noticed him if he did. Anyway, I don't know how he got wind of the AMA, but he did. The next week was quiet, no letters, and I didn't see him anywhere. Then he left me letters with printed out questions and my answers from the subreddit. He also left me a long
I like it. I love it. I love it, yeah.
About an issue that I had posted. These letters were never hateful. Like
it took some getting used to,
though
but
he never seemed happy with my boyfriend.
I love the layout.
He wrote about how I should share the spotlight with him since I
It's a
got
lot friendlier for the way I play.
to him. A few days later, I got a gift, but this time he didn't leave it in my mailbox or at my car like he usually did. No, this time he left it inside the apartment building, right in front of my door.
Yo!
I didn't take it inside my apartment, but opened it outside. It was a pretty big box, which was also unusual, and it was taped shut. As I'm sharing this, I realized that it wasn't a good idea at all, and could have ended very badly for me, but luckily he didn't send me something terrible or anything. He did, however, send me several zip ties, a roll of tape, a TV remote with most buttons picked off, a pack of band-aids with a few used ones, and a framed picture of me. I could tell the picture was taken a few days ago, and my boyfriend was next to me but cut out in the photo. The frame was shattered, and the package was full of glass shards, clearly more than just what could have fallen out of the frame too, and they were also intentionally put inside the crumbled newspaper that was stuffed in there and to keep it all in place and stuff. Anyway, I called the cops right away and gave it to them. They were more concerned this time, finally, thankfully, and told me that they'd send patrol cars more frequently. He didn't show up or leave me any letters or gifts for about another week and a half after that. But 8 days ago, it started again. I found letters in my mailbox where he wrote about how he wasted his time on me, how I haven't been appreciating his effort, how he was wrong about me being special. 5 days ago, I left my apartment in the morning and heard a crunch sound as I stepped on my doormat. He had put broken glass under it in the night. I went off to work because I was in a hurry and was just going to make my boyfriend call the police, but then I found my car had also been vandalized. The sides were scratched, the lights were smashed, and the windshield had a phrase painted on it. "It's time soon. Miss my last name." I went back inside and called the cops myself. They found the same phrase on a note under the doormat. This time they really took me seriously, which might have been because I was just, angry at this point, which I made very clear. If for some reason you're like me and just too stubborn to be afraid of a stalker like mine, then all of this, the letters, the gifts, the photos, even the glass under my doormat, are just really annoying and inconvenient. But my car was useless to me now, and the threat, it scared even me. I did, however, have a dash cam in my car, and it caught everything. The police said that they would take the footage as evidence, even though the dash cam footage wasn't of high quality, and I had given them photos of him that were just as good before, but they said that it wasn't enough. And they told me that they'll look into it further and promised to send more patrol cars in. Then, it was quiet for 2 more days. Until 2 days ago. Someone rang the doorbell at just after 4 a.m. My boyfriend and I got up, but we were both hesitant, but I saw blue lights outside, and just as I got up, I heard them shouting, "This is the police, please open the door." They told us that they were called by one of the downstairs neighbors, who came home from his night shift about an hour earlier, and heard someone else enter the building after them before the door fell shut. My neighbors actually know of my situation, and I've asked them to make sure that they don't let strangers into the building. This neighbor then went into his own apartment and looked through the people. We have motion-activated lights in the stairway, so he waited to see if they turned back on, and they did. Then he saw a middle-aged man walk upstairs. Above this neighbor, there are only me and my boyfriend and a single mum with 3 kids who probably won't be getting any visitors at 3 a.m. So, naturally,
camera keeps freezing.
They came, and they found my stalker 1/2 floor above me on the stairs. He should have been able to see the cop car since there's a little window up there, and they had their lights on, but he either missed them or wanted to get caught. They found a pocket knife on him, and he confessed to being my stalker right away. He was finally caught. They got him. It took 4 years, a provocative Reddit post, and one very vigilant and caring neighbor, but he's finally done. For now, at least, he's facing several charges, and I've collected every single piece of evidence over the past 4 years. I don't know what kind of outcome I can expect, but for now, at least, I finally have some peace.
Damn, that's messed up. Especially the broken glass. Yeesh.
Admittedly, I was a foolish and immature teenage girl when I graduated high school 23 years ago. While others were focused on securing military futures and or furthering their education, I was really only looking forward to moving out of my parents' home and moving in with my high school sweetheart. It would end up being a huge mistake that I regret to this day, but I digress. For the sake of anonymity, we'll call him Jack. Though we lived in different towns and attended different schools, Jack and I had been dating a few years prior to graduation. When we weren't in school, we were pretty much inseparable, so it was no surprise to anyone when we started looking for a place to rent and move in together. What did come as a surprise, however, It was Jack's suggestion to share a place with 2 of his friends, so that we could all split the bills. It wasn't quite what I had in mind, but I was familiar with both of them, and eventually, against my better judgment, agreed to having roommates. The 4 of us soon moved into the upstairs apartment of an old 2-story house in a seedy neighborhood. Of course, it wasn't long before everything hit the fan, as neither of the roommates consistently paid their share of the rent, and the place was overrun by people who didn't even live there.
That's how it goes.
Drug use, fighting, property damage, kicking out random people sleeping on the couch, etc. It was pure chaos, and I was just an outcast living somewhere I clearly didn't belong. But the worst part of it all for me was that Jack and I had grown apart. It was honestly as if I never even really knew Jack at all. Living in a house full of potheads and drug addicts for several months made me hate drugs too, and even weed to be honest. Yet I continued to smoke it myself in an attempt to find semblance of peace and happiness. My own friends would visit often, which also helped me to cope with all the stuff that I was living through to some extent. Still, any time that I had a reason to get out of that house, I did, and so was the case on Halloween night of that year. But my friend, Steph, had stopped by to hang out, and we both smoked for a bit before getting the munchies and realizing that it was Halloween. Being that there was never any food in the house, because someone would always steal it, we quickly recognized the solution to our problem, and set out on foot to relive our youth and score some free chocolate bars. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Yes, we were too old for trick-or-treating. Yes, we should have been ashamed of ourselves for taking candy that was meant for little kids.
What?
Yes, we were selfish and immature. And no, we didn't care. We were just hungry.
Hell, I would have did it.
The timing was perfect, though, because people had just started filing down the streets with kids in goofy costumes, racing from door to door. Steph and I weren't wearing costumes because, well, we were bums. And that's the answer that we gave every time that we knocked on a door and they asked. I'm sure that the ones who didn't question us had already figured that out when they saw these 2 wrinkled Walmart bags that we held open.
He might have, or they're probably just lurking.
But having satisfied our munchies while eating candy along our little adventure, we decided to keep walking and knocking as long as
I've done it. I've done
candy stash.
I went trick-or-treating in my 20s.
Silent and empty, with nearly every porch light turned off, before we finally called it quits and began our long trek back to the apartment in the dark. The mood, though, it soon changed on the walk back. You see, up to that point, it had been a fun and memorable night, but for some reason, neither of us could shake this awful feeling of impending doom, as if we were about to star in our own real-life horror movie. From a rational perspective, this fear was simply due to walking in the dark on Halloween and smoking a bit. The fact that we never told anyone where we were going or what we were doing stuck in our minds. We weren't even sure if anyone knew that we left the apartments, to be honest. Not that any of us would have really cared, but the mere thought of nobody having a shred of information to share if we went missing somehow was suddenly quite unsettling. Anyway, the night air grew colder by the time that we finally found ourselves speeding down the hilly block of houses that led to my apartment, and we were both glad to see that the porch light in front of my door was still on. We slowed our pace toward the bottom of the hill, and as we crossed the street toward the sidewalk, our fears soon became a reality. From behind a vehicle parked in our neighbor's driveway, a very tall man quietly stepped out of the darkness. As silly as it sounds, he was wearing what appeared to be a large hairy werewolf mask draped over his entire head, paired with Freddy Krueger gloves on his hands. He stared intently, gently tapping the long, spiky claws of one glove against his chest as he rounded the bumper of the vehicle before slowly moving toward us with each step. It was actually quite terrifying at first, but I quickly assumed that it must have been someone that we knew from the apartment trying to scare us. So
that's right, you told me that.
Started laughing and mocking this stupid outfit. But what the man did next sent chills to my core. Still silent, he stopped moving, sort of cocked his head to one side, and lowered his hand from his chest. Then he suddenly started speed-walking right toward us. A second wave of fear coursed through my veins as Steph and I instantly bolted across the sidewalk toward the front door. Steph made it through the threshold first, and I leapt inside soon after, quickly turning to slam the door and lock it. I saw the wolf mask facing me immediately behind the door as I did so too, and just as I locked the deadbolt, he tried turning the handle from the other side of the door to get in. We were merely a split second away from, well, whatever that was. Steph and I collapsed on the floor trying to catch our breath as we heard him scratching at the door with his claws. Someone eventually looked down the stairwell to see what the commotion was about, but by that time, the scratching had ceased. As we made our way upstairs to see who was and who wasn't in the apartment, I was shocked to see a room full of people that included both of the guys that I suspected of pulling the prank, as they were a similar height and build to the man outside. One of the guys did go outside to see who might be trying to get in, but the man was long gone. Everyone in the apartment denied having anything to do with it, and to be honest, everyone was accounted for there, so it really didn't seem like it was them. The only other possibility that crossed my mind was the guy who lived below us with his wife and baby on the first floor, but when I later asked his wife about it, she told me that it couldn't have been him because they were all inside that night, and they didn't have any company either. Steph and I, we never did learn the true identity of the Wolfman, and I guess we'll never know what his true intentions were that night, but, I mean, perhaps it was all just a well-orchestrated prank by someone that we knew, right? Or maybe it was simply a prank by a random stranger. I prefer to think of it as a prank either way, because regardless of who was behind the mask, the thought of this being anything other than a prank is, quite honestly, very disturbing. As for Jack, our relationship finally ended when I left him. After I moved out, he kicked his friends out of the apartment for not paying rent, and he was stuck cleaning up the mess that they left behind too. It was a great time to man up for Jack, I suppose, but anyway, to anyone who made it this far, I guess the lesson here is trust your instincts. Stay smart, stay safe, and stay sane out there, especially this Halloween.
It's crazy. A werewolf mask with Freddy Krueger claws? Ugh.
This happened years ago in the 80s when I was 19. I live in a small town
no
in the
worries.
south.
Welcome back, Housie.
It was common to have bonfires in the woods on the weekends in the fall. My friend and I, both female, went to a spot where a few others were hanging out in an open area in the woods. There was a fire, and we were all standing around drinking wine coolers and beer, just talking and hanging out. The main subject being a friend of ours who went missing a few days earlier. He was the kind of guy everyone knew, but I wasn't close friends with him or anything. My friend is talking to someone though, and a guy comes over to me and starts making small talk. He seemed a little bit weird, and I only knew him as the guy who dated a girl that I went to grade school with. I couldn't quite understand why, but I felt a chill and an eerie feeling while he was talking with me. So much so, in fact, that I walked away in the middle of his conversation and grabbed my friend and told her that we needed to leave now. She seemed a bit confused, but could tell by my tone that something was wrong.
Too busy working to do Halloween. That's for the kids.
I couldn't explain it, but I just felt really uneasy. So we left, and we didn't think much else about it.
Haven't done this one yet.
Well, a couple of days later, the guy's body was found, the guy that was missing, in a shallow grave in the woods, and it was soon discovered that he was murdered over a dispute about a girl by none other than the weird guy making small talk with me at the fire.
What?
I still get creeped out thinking about just how casually he was just out in the woods, hanging out, knowing that he murdered a guy and that everyone was discussing the missing friend in front of him. A twist to the story too is that a few years later, he escaped prison and was on the run for about a week. I worked at a movie store at the time, and one day a woman came in to rent a VCR and movies. She was on some kind of drugs and very obviously high. She was all over the place and her eyes were wide and she was talking non-stop. And then she proceeded to tell me that she was staying at a cabin at the lake with the escaped murderer that I just told you about. I acted normal and began filing out the info for her to rent and told her that I had to get something from the back. I called the law and I told them what she said.
I appreciate that. What do you do for a living?
Catching the guy again. There were lots of creepy encounters growing up in the 80s. I loved growing up then, but definitely had a lot of close calls and weird encounters when I was younger. And this one is one that I'll never forget.
Dude was bragging about killing somebody in the woods just very casually at a party
So
while
work in a
trying to hit up a
retirement
girl.
home. My job often requires me to go into the basement with a cart full of dirty laundry. That means that I have to use the elevator. I've done this 1,000 times already, and never
Traffic control. Ooh,
seen
nice.
anything unusual. Now, since I work in a retirement home, amongst a lot of other rooms in the basement, there is also a temporary morgue, which is located opposite of the elevator entrance. This morgue was probably used at some point in time, but as long as I've ever been working there, it has never been unlocked. Nobody used that room for anything. Today, I was working as normal, going about my day, not feeling creeped out at all since it was the middle of the day, and I've been to this basement too many times already and never had the reason to be scared of it. I went down to the basement, emptied the dirty laundry in the laundry room, and called the elevator down again.
A lot of downtime. It's kind of like my job at certain times a year.
The elevator wasn't coming
Can be a
down.
lot of downtime. I get
Above
it.
me, through the closed elevator
Appreciate you
doors,
hanging
I
out.
could hear two of my co-workers speaking and holding the elevator from closing. The space in the elevator is very acoustic, and you can easily hear people on it from the basement all the way up to the 3rd floor. At this point, I was getting a little bit annoyed because it was a particularly busy day and I didn't have any time to spare, so I started knocking on the elevator doors to let them know that I was waiting for it. After a few knocks, it didn't seem to me that they didn't register it as someone knocking for them to get off the elevator, so
I creeped out by
I
a
decided
basement,
to
right?
make in a little sort of melody or rhythm.
Ask
to get
Macaulay
their
Culkin.
attention. And this is where something very weird happened. Maybe 5 seconds after that knock, I started hearing knocking back. It didn't have any particular pattern, and it sounded like literal knocking on a door. I first thought that it was coming from my co-workers above, but quickly realized that it was coming from behind me. I turned around to find the basement completely empty, and I couldn't quite figure out at first where it was coming from. That is, until I came a few feet closer to the sound. It was coming from the morgue. I froze. 1,000 thoughts came rushing through my mind as I tried to somehow rationalize what I was hearing. I wanted to leave the cart behind and just sprint up the stairs to get out of there when I heard the elevator finally coming down. It was the longest wait ever, but I finally got on and pressed the button to the 3rd floor. I must have pressed it 20 times before the door closed too and got me out of it.
Sweet. It's got a memory.
Maybe all of this can be very easily explained away with it being an older building, sounds from the pipes or animals or something like that, and being a pure coincidence with my knocking, but I never heard the building ever make a knocking sound on the door like that before, and it definitely sounded more than just an animal. Needless to say, though, whatever it was, it really creeped me out.
So I blame you. Am I going the wrong way? I am going the wrong way.
This was right around when I was entering 8th grade. I remember all of the events vividly, like it happened yesterday too. At this house that we had, it was amazing. It was a huge 1-story house. The backyard was massive, bordering a riverbed too. There was a huge metal shed in the back that looked like it was used to work on semi-trucks. It was a 4-bedroom house. And my brother's room, which was technically a den, was converted into a room as well. It had long corridors to get to all other parts of the house. The kitchen was long like a hall lined with counters. To get to the 3 bedrooms on the other side of the house, we had to pass the living room and then walk down the long hallway that was L-shaped. My mother's room was at the end of this long hallway, which is where most of the worst events happened. I only know my other siblings and parents' encounters because they told me as an adult, where before they didn't want to scare me, I guess, because I also had my own experiences that they knew about. So, it started with small things, like just uneasy feelings, weird smells like baby powder, misplaced objects, knocking on doors early in the mornings, but the first major incident was when my uncle lived with us. We were sitting in the living room and we had one of those old school big screen TVs. You know, the ones that basically took up the whole corner of the room.
Yeah, they were massive. Hell of a thing to move, too.
Keep in mind, this is a flat surface, as my mum had decorations on top of this TV.
Projection TV, more likely.
Suddenly, we all watched the phone light up the corner of the room, super bright with just the screen. and before my uncle could move to check it, it flew off the TV. I don't mean like it slid, like it legit flew, as if someone had struck it and it just went flying across the room. But we all got startled by that. My mum came running from the kitchen, and my uncle, which is about in his 30s at the time, explains exactly what happened.
It's a collection of Reddit.
Shock, he said.
True, true scary stories.
Different
users submitted stories. He reads them.
Kind of brushed it off, but it was nevertheless the first.
Totally anonymous.
The next event kind of jumps from harmless to major, I think, but my brother was in the kitchen washing his plate for breakfast, when suddenly he explained feeling a very dreadful feeling. But he said that he ignored it, and as he was standing there, he said it felt like a gush of wind passed by him. He even said that he felt a tug on his shirt. Thinking that it was one of our many siblings, he spun around to see who was there, but there was no one. He was alone. Kind of freaked out, he told my mum what happened, since she's the most spiritual out of all of us. She's a big-time Christian. And stay with me here, because we're kind of going to jump around in timeliness based on harmless encounters to the worst ones. So, I remember getting ready for school one morning too, and I began to feel the anxiety and dreadful feeling. I began to scan my room as I tied my shoes on the chair facing the door. It was at this point that I caught a glimpse of an all-black hand wrap around the doorframe of my room. I jumped back, startled, and I saw a full black face peer from the corner of my doorframe. Its face was pasty black, its eyes were all black, and it was wearing an old feather hat sort of thing. I jumped up and screamed, and it quickly disappeared from the doorway. My mum came running in, and I explained with tears in my eyes about what I had just seen. She didn't play it off either, and she started to pray with me. And then finally, this is my last experience in this house, although my other siblings continued to have things happen to them. It was my bedtime, and I shared a room with my older brother. I didn't like sleeping alone after seeing whatever that thing was that was watching me tie my shoes that day. But my brother had a late bedtime because he was in high school. I would go to bed first alone, and I remember being scared but falling asleep that night. I awoke to a silent, dark room at some stage, and for some reason, I couldn't move. I looked around the room from my top bunk bed, and we had these huge glass mirrors for closet doors. In the reflection, I watched a creature crawl out from under the bed and hop onto the bottom bunk where my brother was sleeping. It was staring at me, and it had piercing red eyes. The only way that I can explain it too is that it looked like an evil monkey. I began to scream and cry because I couldn't move.
There's
my brother began to
something
wake
out on the wing.
This thing hops off my brother's bed and quickly goes back under the bed. My brother jumps up and turns on the light. I explain what happened as I could move and talk now. He went to get my mum, and I remember being terrified, being left there alone in that room, well, while he went to get my mum. But she came in and we prayed, and after that, I think I went to bed and eventually I fell asleep. So, like I said, those are my experiences, but these next events are all from my siblings. So my sister often had vivid dreams of a body hanging
Oh,
from
totally.
the window in the
I need to get you a
restaurant.
membership going.
Even to the point that she had a dream of my oldest brother.
Need to get
hanging.
your computer first.
There was just something about that wall in the restroom and the window. Everyone felt uneasy about it, even before my sister ever mentioned the dreams about it. I remember being woken up by my brother at one point. He explained that he was in the restroom, and as he sat there, he said that he became fixated on the wall and the window. He began to feel panic and fear. He said the lights flickered, and he got a glimpse of a noose hanging from the window frame, and he freaked out and quickly finished and ran out of the restroom.
Wow.
Now, I've never seen fear in any of my brother's eyes, but that night was different. He asked me to stay awake with him that night. I agreed, and we talked all night till the sun came up, and there was light in the room. And we both fell asleep once enough light was in the room from outside that we felt safe. This next one is from the perspective of my older sister. My sister would often hear children playing in the hallway from her room, and inside of her room. The sounds changed from just laughing and small voices to children eventually calling her name. She would explain when she took a shower that she would hear them outside of the door calling her. When she would be in her room, she would hear them calling from down the hallway. She was always freaked out and still to this day says that she hated that house. This next one is from the perspective of my older brother. He was asleep when suddenly he was awoken by a loud noise. He explained that he tried to move but couldn't. The bed began to shake violently and the walls were cracking and shaking. He honestly thought that there was an earthquake for a moment, but he couldn't move. As he lay there helpless, he said that it was almost like a train was running through the room. Everything was shaking and there were sounds of a train running over tracks. He said that he closed his eyes and started to pray, but when he opened them, the room was back to normal. No cracks, no shaking, no noise. This same brother would have this same experience multiple times too, except every time was different. Sometimes he would hear trains, people talking like a busy train station.
It's fun. Shadowlands is actually pretty decent. It's not perfect, but
to this day he still has no explanation.
It's pretty cool dungeons. I'm a total dungeon crawler. Once I get the content over with out in the open world, I'm pretty much dungeons for the rest of the expansion. That and raids.
Which had a door to the front of the house. It was connected to the long kitchen, and the doorway to my brother's room was on the right. We also had a computer in the corner, and I remember watching a movie in my brother's room, which was the den converted into a room that I spoke about earlier. But we all fell asleep on the floor, and I remember being woken up by some sort of a loud sound. I hear my sister-in-law saying, "What the heck is that?" I rolled over and I hear that too. Everyone around us was asleep, but it sounded like somebody was on the computer typing on the keyboard, with the occasional clicking of the mouse even. She said go and check, and I was too afraid due to the past events, but I reluctantly checked and see nothing. The computer was off and we both were freaked out, but after a while, we must have fallen back to sleep. This was the beginning of my siblings and parents seeing things too. One of my brothers were walking through the hallway and explained seeing a figure of a man standing in the doorway of my mum's room at the end of the hall. He said that it looked at him and reached for the doorknob and walked outside to the patio.
Dude.
This next one too was one of the scariest things to happen. My uncle was living with us still at the time, and I remember walking in the door with my parents. He immediately stops us and says, "You guys have demons in this house. There's something seriously wrong with this place." I remember the despair on my parents' face, knowing exactly what he meant too. He explains to us that coming home to
literally smashing it.
He walked in the doorway and looked down the hall, and he explained seeing two small children run from the corner of the L-shaped hall and into my sister's room, the one that always heard the children calling her and playing in the hallway. He was surprised because his logical explanation is that my mum left some of us to do something. He walked into my sister's room to ask what we were doing home alone, but he didn't find anyone in the room. He said that he checked everywhere too, convinced that there were children still at home. But just when he was about to give up, he suddenly heard laughing in the hallway. When he looked down to the hallway, he saw the same small children run from the bathroom into my room, only just catching a glimpse. He was now confused because he said that no one passed him to go back out of my sister's room. He said that he was upset and called our names to come out from hiding and stop playing with him. He searched the whole house, but found no one. He was home alone. I remember sitting there too, scared listening to this because the last room that they entered was mine. The next story is my mother's.
Hey, happy Halloween.
She explained that my oldest brother, who works nights, would sneak into her room in the early morning and sit on her bed to let them know that
probably a busy night for you, huh?
They would get up and drink a coffee and just talk sometimes. She explained being awoken up by the sound of her door opening, and she said that she had a feeling that it was not my brother. And instead of my brother coming straight to the bed, she heard her cupboards open and someone sort of rummaging through them. And then they closed and she heard footsteps heading toward her bed. Then she felt someone sit on the bed. She turned around to say hi to my brother. But
being an auntie?
She did.
What?
Nobody was there.
Oh, yeah.
She explained that there was an impression on the bed, though, as if someone was actually sitting there. My mother, being the God-fearing woman that she was, laughed and began to pray. That's when she said the impression disappeared and she heard footsteps leaving the room. The next story is the same brother who had something pull on his shirt in the kitchen that night. It's the same thing. He was washing his dish, except we were all in the kitchen cleaning up for breakfast.
Got it.
And suddenly, he said that he felt the gush of wind again. and
6.
something
Hey,
pulled
witch.
hard at
What's
this
going
time.
on?
He turned around to see and remembers getting up off the floor with everyone around him. But from my perspective, he just blacked out.
All right.
He
Happy
collapsed
Halloween,
onto the
Bulldog.
floor with no warning. We even had the paramedics come that night, but in the end he was fine. No one could explain what happened either, and it was weird. But this house was something evil. We always knew that something was wrong with it, but we finally had the answers. We were all in the living room watching TV one morning when I remember my mum opening the front door. She moved her attention to some random guy standing in the front yard. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to scare you. I used to live here when I was a kid." My mum said, "Oh, you did?" He said, "Yeah, like 20 years ago." My mum said, "Can I ask you some questions?" And he said, "What do you want to know? But before you ask, yes, the house is haunted or cursed," he said with a scared look. My mum, shocked, asked him to explain, and he began to explain all the experiences that we've been having. My mum was pretty shocked by this and says, "Well, what about the knocking or the baby powder?" He says, "Oh, that was my mum. She had a heart attack in the back restroom. Don't worry, she would knock on our doors in the morning to let us know that she was still around." So yes, apparently she did that when she was alive. She would wear a lot of baby powder for some reason too, like it would fluff off her when she sat down, and which explains the knocking earlier in the mornings and the powder smell throughout the house, I guess. But he said you would have to be careful because there's an American native chief here as well. We all said, "What?" He pulled out his phone and pulls up a picture. It's a picture of a developed photo, and
all right.
it shows some
Have a good
people
night, Austin, in case we don't see you.
party.
Appreciate you hanging out.
Standing in the front of the bar.
Hope the work goes well for you.
And behind them is a huge figure with a chief hat on his head, feathers and all. Except his face is completely black, and so are his eyes.
Wow.
The man explained that there are several ghosts and demons in this house, apparently. He even explained that they had a theory that someone hung themselves in the restroom, which also explains the dreams that my sister would have and my brother seeing the rope that day. In the end, we thanked him, and he rode his bike away. We never did see that guy again, or figure out where he was from, or anything. And he was riding a bike, which was weird, but he couldn't have lived too far, I guess. But we never did see him again. After a few years, we moved out of that house. I was really happy too, because all the experiences ended once we moved. But I remember being in high school and my friend was talking about how he just moved across the street. He explained the house, and it was the same one. I warned him, and he laughed at me and said nothing has happened yet. But a few weeks later, he came up to me and said he believed me. He said that he was in the fridge getting milk this morning and no one was home, just him, and someone came super close to his ear and he could feel their breath on his neck, and they said in a low, deep voice, "What are you doing here?" Throughout the school year, he would tell me all the things that would happen there, which actually in turn were way worse than what we ever experienced. I believe that whatever my mum was doing was protecting us there, which I'm thankful for. Obviously, there's a lot more to this and many more experiences, but these were by far the most standoutish, I guess you could say. In the end, I know it sounds a bit weird, but I guess I'm grateful for the experiences. It's definitely shaped my perspective on life and things in life, but I'm also very grateful that I no longer live there.
Wow. Dead mother protecting you
Last
from
week,
spirits.
I met with a girl on Tinder. She was cute and we got along fairly well, so I decided to just go for it, and I asked her to meet up on Saturday. And to my surprise, she said yes.
What's Tinder?
I suggested to just drive around town, but she insisted that I go over to her place instead. And without much thought, I agreed. I arrived around 9 p.m. This was about 20 minutes from my town. The house seemed very unkept at first, but I didn't think anything of it since there were many old houses in this area. But there was only one streetlight near her house, and I parked near it. I texted her, letting her know that I was there, and she hearted the message. I knocked a few times, but there was no answer. I tried calling again, but again there was no answer. Then I texted her that I was leaving and I walked back to my car. Once inside, I saw messages asking where I was going and to come back, and I saw someone standing on the porch, but not from her house. It was from the house next door. They were not there before when I arrived, and the shadow figure was not from a petite young girl. It seemed bulkier, like a man. I was freaked out by that, and so I left, but when I got back home, I saw that the profile had been...
Horseman, rise, your time is nigh. You felt death once.
This day, I don't really know what to think of it.
Now, no demise.
Was it just some sort of innocent prank, or was there more to it? It still gives me the creeps when I think of it. So this actually happened to my husband, and I was just a witness to it, so I'm going to do my best to convey his part of the story from his perspective, the way that he told me. But first, I'll start with mine. So we were living in a small one-bedroom apartment in Tucson, Arizona, with my 12-year-old pit bull and our Siamese kitten, Simon. Our bedroom door was
Siamese
across
kitten.
the hallway from our bathroom door, and when I was laying in bed watching TV, if the bedroom door was open, I could see the bathroom door. So, while I was laying in bed watching TV, my husband was in the bathroom taking a shower. The only thing that I heard from my bed was Simon meowing and yowling like crazy outside the bathroom door, while he desperately clawed at the door. Irritated, I yelled at him until my husband came out of the bathroom, white as a sheet, holding a burnt bath towel in his hand. But even though our walls are so thin, I can usually hear the water running in the bathroom. I realized that it was weirdly quiet in the bathroom from where I was sitting, which was very to the contrary of what he told me was going on in the bathroom. Not to mention that he couldn't even hear our kitty Simon losing his mind just on the other side of the door trying to get in, or me yelling at him. All my husband could hear was what he described to me as the sound of a coming train, coupled with the sound of an old lady moaning. When he pulled open the shower curtain to see what was making the strange sound, to his horror, his bath towel hanging from the towel rack on the wall was suddenly on fire. He said in the moment he was panicking about the fire and didn't consider it spontaneously ignited on its own in a steam-filled bathroom on a damp towel. He just saw it burning and jumped out of the shower and started smacking the towel to try and extinguish the flames. But as he did this, from the top down, he said the flames just sort of seemed to move down the towel, and as he put it out on the bottom, it reignited on the top and vice versa. Even stranger, the flames were mostly blue, and he said that they didn't feel hot. As soon as he finally got the fire to completely extinguish, he quickly grabbed the towel and brought it out to show me. And if I hadn't have seen it for myself, I don't know if I would have believed him. I know that he wouldn't lie to me about something like that too, but I'd be concerned about his mental health, I guess. But I did see the towel. I saw it. I touched it, and I even smelt it. It was a thick, oversized, dark grey towel, and down the centre, there were 2 burn marks in the shape of hockey sticks, for lack of a better descriptive word. But even though I could clearly see it had been burned, the area that it was burnt didn't feel burnt, if that makes sense, and even stranger, it didn't even smell burnt. I took a picture of the towel and then we quickly disposed of it. I don't have any idea what happened or how it happened, but I just didn't want to stay in the home that day. The picture sat on my iPhone until last year when I lost it forever when my phone went missing, but I'm still trying to find a copy of it somewhere, and if I do, I'll add it to this story. This happened in 2018, and we've had several paranormal encounters since then, but nothing compares to the self-burning towel, and it still freaks us out to this day. I mean, what the heck happened that day?
Very fiery diarrhea.
This happened several months ago, and at the time, I had recently lost my car due to a motor vehicle accident.
Kitty.
So I walked for 30 minutes to the store, thinking that I'd be able to beat the sunset back. But I was wrong.
Huh, look at this
By
kid.
the time that I was done picking up my grocery, it was pitch black outside. The thing is that I live in a pretty woodsy area where there are not even many sidewalks, so I really didn't think
My camera crashed. That figures.
I tried getting my brother and cousin to pick me up and drop me off, but they wouldn't have been able to make it for a while, so instead I decided to get a lift. There was a photo of a suspicious-looking, creepy old man popped up as my driver, and I waited at the sidewalk for my ride. And maybe...
Okay. Well, I think I am going to go ahead and call it a night. It's been really cool hanging out, but I'm going to end a little early. I'm actually getting really hungry. I also want to call and talk to my girlfriend, so kind of want to do that. A big shout out to everybody. I'm sorry, y'all, the camera keeps crashing, and it's just really weird. But big shout out to everybody that hung out tonight. I hope y'all enjoyed it. The usual traditional Halloween hangout. Big shout out to, of course, Miss Lady Psylocke, Ozzy, new face here on the channel. Witch, always good to see you. With the janky Wi-Fi. Big shout out to Bulldog as well. Stay safe out there. Still going, right? Okay, yeah. Also, big shout out to... Who else was here earlier? Who else? Oh, yeah. Shiesty and Game Crusher. And everybody that's been lurking. I hope y'all have enjoyed the stories. That was B-Beat, one of my my new favorite YouTubers. Great stories from Reddit. And very creepy. I think I'm going to run up, get a late night taco, give my girlfriend a call, and then maybe watch a late night movie before going to bed. But I hope you guys have a good day tomorrow. Have a good Tuesday. Stay safe, stay sane. Happy Halloween. And I will see you next year when we get into the creepy. I will have a costume for sure. And yeah, we'll see where things are next year. I'm looking forward to it. We will have a Christmas stream as well, where we'll do some giveaways. I didn't do the giveaway tonight. We didn't really have a huge turnout, and not a whole lot of the regulars popped in, and I want to give everybody a chance at it, so we're going to delay that for the gift card. But we'll do that next time. So, as always, stay safe, stay sane, happy Halloween. Remember, you're awesome. Never let the world tell you otherwise. Or ghosts, or goblins, or interdimensional creatures that are only there to feed off your actual spiritual essence, albeit biological essence. But, and for the record, I do believe that there is a lot more to this world and this universe than just us. And we hear talk tonight of shadow people, of ghosts, of spiritual energies, of creepy folk. I believe with time, we'll come to a better understanding of what we experience but can't yet explain. I find hope in that. See ya.